What's up, everyone, and welcome to the first ever edition of the Clueless Yanks podcast. I am your host, Logan, here with my two co-hosts, Jake and Sling. Jake and Sling, introduce yourselves to the people.
Yo, what's going on? This is Jake.
What's up, folks? This is Sling.
So, with this being the first ever edition of the podcast, we want to kind of give you guys an idea of what to expect from us. So, we are three Clueless Yanks, three clueless Americans that have recently, over the past, say, 5 or 6 years, gotten into the world of soccer or football. We follow the Premier League pretty heavily. I'm an Arsenal fan. Sling is an Arsenal fan, and Jake is a Chelsea fan. But this podcast is going to focus on the Premier League as a whole, but with a special focus on the Big Six clubs. All right, so now we want to kind of give you guys a background of ourselves and how we got into soccer. So I remember back in 2014, I was doing the usual. Watching the World Cup, and I was watching the United States. And that's something that, look, even though soccer is not the biggest thing in the U.S., it's probably the fourth or fifth most watched sport after, obviously, football, baseball, and basketball, and maybe even hockey. But one thing we do as Americans is we come together whenever our teams are playing in the World Cup and support them just on, like, a sense of being patriotic. And so I remember watching it in 2014, and it just felt different for me that time. I was more interested in the players and how skillful they were and the type of tactics that were used and the formations and the organization that put everything together. And so I watched that, and I really just had a newfound sense of enjoyment while watching the World Cup. But anyways, after it was over, I kind of stopped watching soccer again. And so actually you have to fast forward another year to the Women's World Cup in 2015. And so once again, as an American supporting my national team, but once again, I remember watching, I was like, this is more than just being patriotic. I actually enjoy watching this sport. And so after the 2015 World Cup was over, I was like, I need to pick a real team. I need to pick a club to watch. And so I was like, I kind of know the MLS is pretty trash and garbage. I remember watching on the TV every now and then, and I couldn't watch more than 10 minutes because the quality was just wasn't good. And so I was like, look, I want to pick a team across the pond where football is everything, where they live and they breed it. And so I was deciding, like, which league should I support? And I was thinking about the Bundesliga. I was thinking about La Liga, but I ultimately didn't want to support one of those just insanely massive and successful clubs that win things every single year. I thought that would be kind of like a bandwagon. So I didn't want to support a Real Madrid, a Barcelona, a Bayern Munich, Manchester United. So I started researching teams, and I came across Arsenal, and I noticed that they have this long withstanding manager named Arsene Wenger, who has won a lot of things, has had some great success for the club, has built the club into a big name brand, a big club. And I also noticed that they had a player named Mesut Ozil. And Mesut Ozil, I literally remember watching him in the 2014 World Cup, and I was like, this dude is disgusting. This dude's the real deal. And so once I saw him, and after reading about the club, I decided to support Arsenal, and it's kind of been history ever since. I started watching them in the 15-16 season, and actually it started off great. I remember one of my first memories was that Danny Welbeck header in extra time to beat Leicester to put us top of the league. And I was like, this is amazing. Supporting Arsenal's the best. We're going to win the league this year. It's all roses. And then, well, the history from on down from that. And we obviously dropped a lot of points. We lost games we should have won. We drew games we should have won. Ended up getting second, but it was even like a backdoor second on the last day. We missed winning the league by about 10 points. But ever since then, I've been in love with the club. I wake up every single morning when I watch them. If it's 6 a.m., I'll wake up and watch them lose to Southampton 1-0 in the FA Cup. And I don't enjoy doing that, but look, I love the club, and that's what I'm going to do regardless. So it's been Arsenal. It's brought so many good memories to me. Those 2 FA Cup wins in 2017 and just recently in 2020. They're 2 of my favorite memories, not only as a soccer fan, but as just a sports fan in general. So I've really fallen in love with the sport, and especially with the club. And I love following the Premier League and just the top 6 in general. And especially I love watching Spurs lose.
Yeah, honestly, fuck Spurs. All right, what's up, y'all? This is Jake again. I'm going to go into how I got into the soccer world, football world. I also started by watching the 2014 World Cup when the USA was in the so-called death group. Everybody counted us out. And we ended up pulling it out over Portugal, Ghana, and of course Germany won the group, but we came in second, so we made it through. That was really cool. This was my first time actually ever watching soccer legitimately. And even though, we got knocked out by Belgium, it was still, I think, one of my favorite U.S. games I've ever watched, especially with just how crazy Tim Howard performed and the fact that really we should have We had a chance.
Fucking Wondolowski, bro.
Yeah,
Oh,
fucking
my God.
Wondolowski.
That was the Premier League show, but we just had to get that in.
Yeah, any of you Americans, you know what I'm talking about. Fucking Wondolowski. But anyways, I kind of took a break after that World Cup. I did watch the Women's World Cup, so I watched us win it all. That was really cool. But there was just something about the men's that just hooked me more. It's more competitive. It's just it's a level above the women's, and even though they aren't as successful as the women, it's so much more fun to watch. But Logan, he got into the Premier League years before I did. He's been an Arsenal fan for a while, and I wasn't too big on it. And then finally, recently, our friend group decided, we should all get together and pick a Premier League team and kind of start following them. Kind of have some banter back and forth, talk shit about the other teams, just some good stuff. And I decided to pick Chelsea for a couple of reasons. Because I'm so big on the U.S. team, my favorite player on the U.S. team is actually Pulisic, Christian Pulisic. And I've been following him for a while now. When he was at Dortmund, he had that link up with Aubameyang for a while, and then Aubameyang left for Arsenal. But Pulisic was just that young talent coming up. Very fun to watch. He just brought something different to the American team that we honestly didn't really have. But I watched him, and then he went to Chelsea, and I was like, you know what? I don't know too many players in the Premier League, and there are very few solid Americans in the Premier League. So I was like, fuck it, I'll pick Chelsea. So I decided to, follow them. And I started watching them legitimately this year. And so far, we started out really good. And then we just kind of fell off a little bit, and now we're in ninth place in the Premier League table. And as a matter of fact, we just sacked Lampard. Heyo.
Hey,
But yeah. So I don't know. We'll get into that later. But I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. Hopefully, we can turn it around. Maybe make a run for the league table. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's basically how I got into it. And now Sling will introduce himself.
hey guys, it's Sling again. For me, it wasn't as deep, I guess, when I first started watching soccer. Although I guess my first memories of watching soccer were the 2010 World Cup when Spain and Netherlands, played off in that final. Me and my brother, broke a lot of crap around the house, pretending to be Robin and all those other guys, and yeah, I started watching Premier League a few years after that. Logan was always talking about it, so I figured it sounded pretty cool. So he drugged me along as an Arsenal fan. Thierry Henry was like my childhood soccer player. So to get to support his club, I kind of had to. Also, as a Laka guy, so
Yeah, you were a Red Bulls fan too,
I
weren't you?
was a Red Bulls fan.
So you do have that connection to
I was
Henry
yeah, I was a
from
Red
way
Bull.
back.
Yeah, I was a Red Bulls guy when I was little. When I first started playing FIFA, so yeah, I had to pick up Henri for the Gunners, and yeah, it's been good so far. Seen some good, interesting club matchups, and hopefully they got a nice young squad in there right now. Arteta's, he's the man right now. They're giving him a lot of power, and I hope he can make a bunch of decisions to. With those young guys, that young core they've got right now, they've got a real good future. So, not really disappointed in my choice to pick Arsenal. Really excited about the future. So, it's kind of how I got into watching soccer.
And we got one thing. We've watched our team win a trophy or two. Jake over here,
We
he hasn't
have
seen hasn't seen him win. Hasn't seen them winning silverware yet.
just a
But
couple too.
Just wait on it.
just wait on
Just
it.
wait on it.
All right. So with the first podcast, we actually had some content. We had some breaking news this morning. Frank Lampard was sacked from Chelsea. It looks like they're probably going to be hiring Thomas Tuchel, who formerly was at Dortmund and just recently with PSG before getting fired earlier this season. But so yeah, we have some content to talk about, some breaking news. And so yeah, I think that's Jake. How you feeling about the sacking from your giving Lampard the sack?
I woke up this morning to the news, and I was a little shocked that the trigger was pulled this early.
It's weird timing, isn't it? Like after winning the FA Cup,
Yeah,
I thought like if they're gonna do it, they'd maybe do it when they lost to Leicester during the midweek. But
yeah, I know. It's like I figured if there was a point to pull the trigger on it, that would have been win. But I figured maybe they were going to give them one last shot, and then we beat Luton Town, and they're like, no, let's get the fuck out of here. But I don't know. It's kind of like we're putting all of our chips on the table with sacking him and replacing him with Tuchel. Um, I don't know. Lampard, don't get me wrong, there's a legend for the club. Love the guy. Just as a manager, it was hard to agree with some of the stuff that he did, especially with picking the squads and also playing certain players in the squads.
Could not figure it out for shit.
No, I just for one, I don't even. It's hard for me to talk about Timo in a positive manner, but
$70 million signing.
Oh god, it's been rough watching him play. Anytime he comes in as a sub, I lose hope. Especially with him missing a PK against Luton Town, that just kind of topped it off for me. But personally, I don't know. He played guys out of position. When he should have sat certain guys, he didn't. It was hard for me to agree with some of the stuff he did. I mean, I personally have my perfect lineup in my head, and it was just every game. It was just never the lineup, and
I remember I felt the same way when Unai Emery was coaching Arsenal. He would always play players out of position, and like it's just nothing more frustrating than like seeing someone that you know is better in this position, but the manager always just insists on playing. And look, they're paid millions of dollars, and I'm sure they know a hell of a lot more about the sport than I do. But it's just it's so frustrating watching that. It's kind of got to be weird sacking like a club legend. I don't because Arteta he played for Arsenal, and so I do kind of have like a little bit of a connection to him as a player. But he's not a legend, like nowhere near like Lampard's level. And so if we sacked Arteta, it would be kind of weird just the fact that he was a former player and former captain actually for a season or two.
Mm-hmm.
But for Lampard, it's got to be a whole new level, and just sacking him.
I just hope for Lampard. I hope he knows that it's a business decision. It's not personal. Like the whole Chelsea world still loves him. It's just as a manager.
Well, that's what
wasn't cutting it.
That's Chelsea in a nutshell too. They pull the trigger on coaches like no other team around. Roman Abramovich. I remember Mourinho won the league, and then the next season, after a few months, they started off bad. He pulled the trigger, told him to get out of here. And so yeah, he's pretty ruthless about that. And at the end of the day, I thought Chelsea did really good last season, making top four in a season where they were on that transfer ban, and yet they still were able to pull out a top four with a lot of young players in their squad, like Abraham and Mount and Pulisic and guys like that. But this season, after they spent like $300 million on Chilwell and Werner and Ziyech and Kai Havertz and all them guys, Mendy, they spent so much money. I was sitting here as an Arsenal fan. I was like, yo, they're going to be really good this year. I'd expect them to kind of challenge Liverpool and Manchester City. And they've just taken a big step backwards. So I think there's just really no – I think that it was going to come eventually. He just ninth in the table right now with that much money invested in the squad. It just – I don't know how much longer he could have lasted, to be fair. It is weird timing, sacking him after a win. But I think his days were definitely numbered.
Yeah, it's gonna be a very bad look if we go from sacking Lampard while we're in ninth, and let's say Tuchel comes in and we start doing worse. I mean,
that's another thing. I know Tuchel. He has a decent pedigree. He did good things with Dortmund. Never won the league with them, but I mean, hell, that's Bayern's league. It's very very hard to win the league when you have Bayern in it. And but he had some good success in with Dortmund. Always did pretty decent in the Champions League. And then he went to PSG last year and won the league. He got him to the Champions League final, but then started off slow this year, and they fired him. Which PSG, I guess, is kind of similar to Chelsea when it comes to just pulling the trigger. It doesn't matter what you did for me in the past, but if you're not doing it for me now, you're out of the door. But what do you think? Do you think that because the thing is, there's always that risk when you hire a manager outside of the Premier League. You don't know how their tactics and everything are going to relate to the Premier League. We've seen it with certain managers that haven't had success that came from other leagues, but then we have seen guys like Mourinho and Pep Guardiola and guys like that have came from abroad and then just killed it in the Premier League. So, what do you think about that hire?
I mean, it is. He's had success at PSG, but it's also. I would think it would be hard not to with the caliber team. That
Unai Emery won a lot of things with PSG, and he fucking sucked at Arsenal. So
with Neymar and Mbappe up top, two of the best attackers in the world. You're definitely going to be scoring goals. But I think he might be able to mesh well because I know he. Helped with Pulisic at Dortmund.
Yeah, he's had that connection with him.
And then just from him also coming from the Bundesliga, he'll have Timo and Kai, and maybe hopefully because
for that German connection
struggling, he'll have that German connection. Maybe can get with him and figure out something to help his form. But I don't know.
Then just the thing that you'll see it a lot with new coaches is that the team will get that initial bounce. And sometimes it doesn't last, but at least they'll get that initial bounce most of the time. And that's what some of these players that are low on confidence, like Werner and even Havertz, has struggled a little bit. But getting a new manager in, a new ideas and everything, that could help them a lot in their form and everything. So
fingers crossed.
We'll see how that goes.
Yep.
So obviously, with this being a Premier League-based podcast, unironically, we start off with an FA Cup edition of the podcast. So let's hop right in to those fixtures from the weekend, and we start with our beloved Gunners. Woke up at 6 a.m. on Saturday to watch them play Southampton. I looked at the team sheet and immediately almost wanted to go back to bed. Made 7-8 changes. Look, I understand that there's a lot of fixtures right now, especially with kind of a shortened season. It started later than normal because of the COVID pandemic. I understand that you have to rotate players, but we made 8 changes. We made seven new players came in, and then we switched Cedric from right back to left back. And you just don't make – if we were playing a team from the championship, a team from one of the lower leagues, like League One, League Two, I would understand putting out a team like that, make a lot of changes, even put some kids in, give them a chance. But you're playing Southampton, a Southampton side that's pretty good. They're actually above you in the Premier League table right now. And it doesn't make sense playing that many backups. And I think at the end of the day, it was just arrogance in his team selection by Arteta, and it came back to bite us in the ass.
My quote for this week, I'll go ahead and read it off now. Arteta is an arrogant fuck. How the hell do you come out with a B team, a B squad against a Southampton team that is literally above you in the Premier League table? Like you said, they're 10th, we're 11th.
Bro, the thing that baffles me is that their next game is us.
Yeah.
They play us again in the Premier League on Tuesday. And so they come out, they make one change. They had their goalkeeper. They swapped a goalkeeper in. That was the only change they made. Well, I think they had Vestergaard, who's a really good center back for them. He was out. I think he might have been from an injury or something like that, but he was out too. But overall, it was mainly their first team. They had Ings, they had Ward-Prowse, they had Walker Peters, they had Bertrand, all them guys on their team that are solid Premier League players. They kept them all in, and yet we take all of our guys out and we put back in El Nini and we put in Pepe and Nketiah and Willian. Ugh, don't even get me started on him, but that's just so many.
I'll get started on Willian. Why does he still get chances in the club? It is beyond me. I don't care that he was free. Yeah, he's free. He's freer than a public restroom. The guy is awful. He's so bad. I don't understand. I get on Twitter and I see nothing but Pepe slander. Pepe created 5 of our 8 chances against Southampton, and all I heard was that he's not good enough to be in the squad. That he was a waste of 72 million. 72 million. That's all I hear, and I never seen anybody talk about Willian. Nothing. About it. And he's fucking terrible.
Well, I do see a fair amount of Willian hate, but everybody does. They hate on Pepe just as much, if not more. And the reasoning is, Willian was free and Pepe cost 72 million. Okay, well, Pepe didn't ask to cost 72 million. He didn't say, I'm going to perform like a $72 million player. That's not his fault. So that just That doesn't make sense. I mean, Willian, even though he was free, might be the worst signing I have ever seen at this fucking football club. He is so bad. I remember watching him for Chelsea over the last few years, and he was a decent player. And it just seems like I mean, he was arguably Chelsea, a top 3 Chelsea player last season. He was pretty, especially near the end, especially his set pieces and free kicks and all that. And even I understand that he's getting older and his legs are going. So one, I don't know why we paid him 120,000 a week or however much he's on. I think it gets up to even 200,000 in bonuses. Which, by the way, there's no way in hell he's earning bonuses right now because he's not doing anything on the pitch. But I understand that he's getting old. He's like 32 now, and he's losing his legs. He's not as fast as he used to be, and as quick as he used to be. But he even sucks. He sucks from dead balls, free kicks now too.
Yeah.
He just looks like a shell of the player that he used to be. And I guess since he's on that much money, there is some pressure on the manager to play him. But I mean, at some point, you just got to cut your losses and just sit him on the bench. I mean, the thing is with me, I could have accepted Willian playing, to be honest, if he played with Saka on the other side and Lacazette up front. But when you play Willian and Kedia and Pepe all together, 3 guys that have not really performed up to their abilities this season, you play them all together as in your front as a part of your attack. It just it just doesn't make sense. You got to rotate some players, obviously, but you don't rotate that many at a time. You pull in a couple more players and rotate out a couple players. You don't do 7 or 8 of them. I don't know. That's just beyond me. And unfortunately, the arrogance from Arteta just doesn't make sense because, I mean, we're 10th in the league right now. Actually, I think we dropped to 11th after Aston Villa won the other day.
Yeah.
And so, look, we're probably, even though I think we are only like 7 points or so off top 4, so it's not impossible. There's still, half a season left. We could put together a good run of form and sneak into the top 4, but the high chances are that we're not going to make it into the top 4. So what's our best chance at a trophy this season is the FA Cup, and we're the holders. We won it last season. We've won it 14 times, more than any other team in the competition. It's the Arsenal Cup. It's what we win. It's what we do as Arsenal Football Club. And just the disrespect that was shown from Arteta by putting out a weak side like that. I'm someone that backs Arteta. I know he's gotten some stick recently, especially with the run that we were on in the league a couple months ago, where we were just abysmal, and we dropped all the way down to I think 15th at one point. But I still backed him because I saw the things that he did last season, and I know that there's something in there. And this is the first time he's ever been a head coach, so you got to take the bumps along the road. But so I've been backing him, but I can't sit here and defend him at all for his decisions in that game. You can't put out a team like that against a team like Southampton. Like I said, if you're playing a weak side that's a couple divisions lower than you, sure. If you go out there and lose with that lineup, then that's on the players. But and I'm not taking all the blame away from the players. The players have got to be a hell of a lot better than they were, but you can't go out there and put out that kind of lineup in a game like that and not take any of the blame. It's just he deserves stick that's coming his way.
Well, yeah, you get cocky, and they've had a really good run after their last 5 games. I mean, their last 5 league games, 4 their last 5 are wins. So I get him wanting to rest the squad and kind of focus on keeping up that good run in the league. But you've got a
that's where momentum comes in too. You don't want to go lose then. That hurts your momentum even in the league.
Why wouldn't you go out? You play your best guys, and they're in a cup game. And I get with Aubameyang out, you knew
personal reasons.
Yeah, you knew that you were going to have to kind of rotate somebody else in that attack. But why do you put out Ketia and
Kedia?
Yeah, and Kedia and Pepe and Willian, who, like you said, they're not in form at all right now. Willian for sure is not. Pepe is, but I think it's the confidence really with Pepe.
I just think he doesn't get game time. That's one of his problems. Which is another thing. Every single time we're winning big in the Premier League, he puts in fucking Willian instead of Pepe. That doesn't make any sense to me. Get Pepe in so he can get some minutes. He has better quality than Willian, so that's another thing. But whatever.
The one positive, even though it's hard to see, the one positive that you could take away.
This is about to be some bullshit, right?
No. It's not.
Let's hear it.
That Arsenal is going to come back with a fucking vengeance
on Tuesday.
Southampton.
I will say, we absolutely obliterated Southampton the last 30 minutes of the game. They look fucking gassed.
Yeah.
And so that should come to help us on Tuesday. But I'm telling you, if we lose on Tuesday too, after laying
I'm
an
out
egg
on
on Saturday.
Arteta if they lose.
People, well, I'm still going to back. I'm supporting
Fuck
the
no,
rest of
I'm
the
out
season.
on him if they lose on Tuesday.
I'm supporting him. I'm giving him the full season. We don't have a fantastic squad. I'll give him the full season, but I mean, there's going to be some serious questions that are going to have to be asked because you can't rest all your guys on the weekend to get them prepared for the league match and then come out and lay another egg on in the league. So that becomes just that much bigger of a game and so much more pressure on Arteta in that game now. Whereas if he would have went out and won that game in the FA Cup, obviously there's pressure in every league game, and right now we have a good run in the league, and you want to continue to climb up the table. But there's going to be a lot more pressure on him now that we lost, and he rested guys for this particular game.
I will say, I mean, if he's using the league as his only defense, it's a pretty good defense, but still fuck that. I don't care that 7 points separate 8th and 14th right now. I don't care. You're in a cup match. It's like the playoffs. Like, you go out there and you play to win. That's it. That's it. I don't understand why you go out there and you put a B team out there when you have a chance. You're the defending champion. You're the defending champion. You go out there and you play to win the cup. I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, and it's not like this is FIFA where that's not how the real world of soccer works, where you swap out an entire B team when you need to make squad rotations. You normally just swap out, let's take out a few players and need some rest. Like Emil Smith Rowe, he's not been a regular starter up until the Chelsea game a month or so ago, and he's played like in 6 straight games. He started 5 of them, so I can understand. He looked absolutely gassed at the end of the Newcastle game last week, and so I can understand why he was rested. Tierney has played a lot of games. He also had like a little niggling injury back in a couple weeks ago, and so I can understand why he was rested. But there's other guys like Thomas Partey. Okay, he came back from injury. 3-4 weeks ago, or not even 3-4 weeks ago. It was like 2 weeks ago, and he's played in a couple games. He came on as a sub in one game for about 30 minutes, and then this past game against Newcastle, he started and played about 60 minutes before coming off.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to get up to match fitness right now because obviously coming off of an extended injury, you're not going to be in great match fitness. It doesn't matter what you do off the pitch, training or whatever. There's nothing. Obviously, we've played sports before. There's nothing better than the actual fitness you gain from the game. And so I thought this would be a perfect opportunity for him to play. Look, he doesn't have to play all 90 minutes, but start him, let him play 60 minutes, and then take him off at 60 minutes or 70 minutes and get him ready. So hopefully he can play 90 minutes on Tuesday, and that way he's back up to match fitness. So that was another thing that really baffled me. And then on top of that, I think we have a glaring problem in the squad right now, and I am not a very big Sead Kolasinac fan.
No.
And obviously he's back at Schalke right now on loan, and then he's probably going to join them after his contract expires in the summer. But we have one left back on our roster right now, Tierney. And so when Tierney needs a rest, Tierney he's so good. I love the guy. He's a future captain for me, but he can't play every game, obviously. And so he's going to need rest, and that's twice now that he's rested. He rested against Newcastle in the FA Cup last round, and we didn't score for 90 minutes. We didn't score until extra time. And then this time he rested against Southampton. Once again, we don't score. We have a right-sided back playing at left back, and it doesn't work for me. I think that's a situation that hopefully we can get a loan or buy someone for cheap because we need a left back to help fill in for Tierney. And then another thing, like, what if Tierney gets hurt? We might be fucked if that happens because we don't have another left-sided left back. The attack just looks so weird. Cedric played absolutely brilliantly against Newcastle in the league.
Oh yeah, he looked
last
awesome.
week,
Yeah.
And then he came out and he got put at left back, and he just looked awful and I can't blame him. He's not a left back. He's right-sided when he has to cross. He's like, well, I don't want to cross on my left foot. I'm not good at that. Obviously, that's not what he's been doing for years and years. So he comes in on his right foot, and then the angle closes down, and the cross doesn't get played in quick enough. So that's something that needs to be addressed. But look, we regroup. Hopefully it pays off tomorrow during the game. Hopefully we take it to Southampton and get a win. But it is disappointing going out of the Cup because we have 2 realistic shots of winning a trophy this year, and it's the FA Cup and the Europa League. And the Europa League is obviously going to be pretty difficult. There's some good teams in it.
Oh yeah.
And especially with just being the holders of the FA Cup, you'd think you'd come out and just put in a better performance than that. So, but we move on to the midweek, and hopefully we can get back on track. So now let's get on to the second game from the Big Six on the weekend. Manchester City defeated Cheltenham Town 3-1. A game that was pretty close for a while. I think actually
nobody even scored until the for Man City, nobody scored until the 81st.
Yeah, so
Right.
Cheltenham actually took the lead through kind of a weird goal in the kind of the early parts of the second half through Alfie May, and it actually looked like Manchester City could be going out. Cheltenham was sitting back deep; they were defending really well, and but eventually Man City broke through. Phil Foden tied it up before Gabriel Jesus scored what was eventually going to be the game-winning goal in the 84th minute, and then Ferran Torres, just for good measure, added a third in extra time. But yeah, I mean, Man City, they're kind of like they're not the Man City that they were the last couple of years. Um, and I think part of that has to do with Aguero. He's been injured. He's been out. I think they really hurt without him. They struggle to find goals at times. But right now, they're getting results. They're scoring late in games, and they're getting results. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. If you win, a win is a win is a win. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, they're doing what they have to do, and they got the job done in the end. But I will be interested. I think I read a report recently that I think Aguero is out another 4 to 6 weeks. So Gabriel Jesus has got to step up big time for him. I know they've even played false nines recently with Jesus on the bench. So somebody's got to become that goal scorer for them in the league, because I think if they can get a goal scorer, I think that they have the best squad overall in the league right now, and I think they could put a run together in the league and almost maybe even separate themselves from the pack if they can start scoring goals on a more consistent basis. But oddly enough, with them, when you think of Pep Guardiola, you think of just this wonderful free-flowing football tiki-taka that he had at Barcelona, and he's instilled that at Man City. But what they've been recently is just they've been phenomenal in defense. They added Ruben Diaz in the summer transfer window, and he's been brilliant for them. And so they're actually relying on that right now to kind of keep them in games. And look, it's always good to have a good defense. Offense wins games, but defense wins championships. And so I think as long as they keep defending well, if they can find a real number 9 to help them score goals while Aguero is out, I think that they can be in real good shape in the league and in cup competitions and the FA Cup and the Champions League as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I actually didn't get to watch that game, but I can kind of just go off of when, back when Man City absolutely annihilated us when they played us. Watched that one live. That was a fun tune in. I mean, they just looked so fluid on offense, defense. I mean, they were suffocating the whole game. They dominated possession. We finally got one back on them, in extra time.
Like the last kick of the game.
Yeah, literally. I think was it Callum Hudson-Odoi?
Yep.
But I mean, they're an all around solid team. I mean, they have everything put together. Like you were saying, not having Aguero definitely hurts a lot. He's one of the better strikers in the Premier League, and not having that kind of a talent, it can.
Yeah, because they still play that like fluid football and they look brilliant to watch. But the thing is, it's like they'll put in crosses and no one's there to finish them off, and that's kind of what they're struggling at right now. But they're grinding out results, and look, at the end of the day,
their last 5 are all wins. I mean, that's
best form in the league.
Can't complain.
Nope. All right, so let's move on to the next Big Six fixture from the weekend on Sunday, and it's your Blues.
Overall, I think granted it's Luton Town. It's not a giant or anything. But winning 3-1 against them definitely felt good. My boy Tammy Abraham pulled out a hattie, so that was cool.
Sure.
Yeah, no, it's good to see him coming into form. It's looking really good for him. I'll also say, just because Christian Pulisic, he's my favorite player. I love following him. He honestly should have had, I'll say, at least 2 goals in that game.
That one was really bad. Like, it was a tap and he just kicked it directly at the goalie.
Literally, he had a one-on-one. There wasn't a defender within, it looked like, 8 to 10 yards of him. I mean, you pick your spot, and he could have passed into the goal, and, I mean, he just kicked it right at the goalie.
He seems to kind of be doing a lot of things right recently, except for that final ball, that final shot or that final pass.
Just not there,
It's kind of a little bit off form at the moment.
Yeah, so, I saw that, and I was like, come on, man. Like, you got to put at least one of those away. I can understand maybe a bad shot, but, 3 opportunities that were really good opportunities, and you can't put one in. It's just, I don't know. It's a bad look. But other than that, I mean, he creates opportunities. He's got a really high work rate. He can take on multiple defenders at once. He's got that spark that you're looking for on the wing. And then when you've got a guy, like Tammy Abraham, who's 11 feet tall, you can cross it into him. He gets his head on it. It's a really good combo. I liked the lineup for the most part of what we were working with. Reese has been battling kind of an injury. He finally got back. I personally think he's one of the better right backs in the Premier League. He's all around, kind of can do it all. He's got good pace. He helps on the attack.
Yeah, Saka kind of had him on ropes a few weeks ago. I mean, Saka's another level, so I mean he has everyone on ropes. So
all right,
no disrespect.
I'll put it on Lampard since he's on his way out. This is all Lampard's fault.
Everything is, yeah. Everything's gonna be fine.
Everything. No, but we didn't have Silva in the lineup at center back. I think he's that rock in the defense. He's been solid, even with he's getting up there in age.
See, that's a good free signing.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Willian
signing.
Very bad. Very, very bad.
Yeah. We played fucking Kepa in goal.
I saw his. Probably should have saved that, but
yeah, no kidding. Other than that, though, I will say it's a big fuck up, especially since it's a goal. But
he's good for about one of those a game.
Yeah. Other than that, he looks solid. Granted, again, it's Luton Town, so
I think he had to make like one big save after that. That's about it.
The rest are just kind of routine sweeping.
Yeah.
Conte was out with a hammy injury. But yeah, he definitely needs to be in the starting lineup when he's healthy. I was okay with the rest of the lineup. I love Pulisic out on the left wing. That's his natural spot. Tammy up top is good. He's kind of that you can pick him out in the crowd, cross it in. Ziyech on the right wing. I like that. Him and Odoi definitely are the two right wingers that I would love to see out there most of the time. Timo at a cam, I don't really know if I like that. I think if anything, he should just be strictly a striker up top. I really would like to see Kai Havertz at that central attacking mid position. I think it kind of suits him the best, or like a false nine type deal. Mason Mount, I've loved him recently.
He was a captain, wasn't he?
Yeah, no, he was. I think it was his first
ever
game being a captain.
He's probably been y'all's best player this season.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. I think he's played the hardest, and honestly, I think he's played the most games out of anybody on the team. I'm talking that man never rests.
To be fair, he seems like kind of one of those good old English boys that grew up with the club, and he knows what it means to play for him, and he's always going to go out there and give it 100%.
Yeah, he posted that picture on Twitter, him at like 6 years old in his Chelsea uniform, and I was like, God damn, man.
Yeah, I saw that. That was pretty cool.
Cute as hell.
It's always good to have players like that in your club, and you can go out and buy all these $70, $100 million signings, but at the end of the day, you need at least some players in the club that know what it means and just kind of relate back to the fans and put in that, every single game, if they might not be on form, they're going to go out there and they're going to fight for the badge. So that's always good to have a guy like that.
Yeah. And another thing about him that I really liked was for a while there, it looked like the team was just kind of losing its fire, its passion. We looked just kind of lackluster. And it was in the Fulham game, the Tin Man Fulham game. Let me throw that out there that we barely eked out. I was not happy with that one, even though we did pull it out. A win's a win, but God, it was ugly. I will say when Anthony Robinson came in and cleaned
USA
man right there. He came in and absolutely cleaned him out. The only person to go over there and have
a word with him
back was Mason Mount.
Yeah.
And I like that no matter what is happening, win or lose, Mason Mount is going to come with that fire every single game. And I love watching that about him. He's a dog, absolutely. But overall, Luton Town, I was happy with the 3-1 result. I personally think we should have had more than 3, and we shouldn't have even gave them a goal. It was just, it was a shitty goalkeeping on that one shot by Kepa, but it's Kepa. He's kind of
at the end of the day, survive in advance. That's what matters the most.
Wins a win, baby.
Yep.
Up the Chelsea.
All right, now into the big one from the weekend. Liverpool versus Manchester United. They recently played in the league. An absolute stinker when they played in the league. 0-0. One of the most boring games I've ever watched. But this time it was a lot more exciting, and it was a pretty even game. Liverpool had a little bit more possession. The shots, though, both had 14 shots, both had 6 on target. I thought that in the end, um, I mean, United just about, it could have gone either way, but I think United just about deserved it. And Liverpool, they're kind of on a little bit of a downward spiral right now. They keep faltering in the league.
Last five have not
And
been very good for them.
yeah, they've got what, one win?
Draw.
Yeah, their only win is against Aston Villa, and that was in the FA Cup. That wasn't even in the league.
Right.
So they're kind of struggling at the moment. I think they're really missing that leadership of Van Dijk. I mean, obviously you missed one of the best center backs in the world. Yeah, him and Sergio Ramos probably the two best. And also on top of that, Joe Gomez is out for the season. That's his partner. So you're missing your center back pairing. Every single week they play with Fabinho playing center back, and he's not even a center back. He's a defensive mid. And then they have youngsters in there filling along with them. And they're just kind of struggling at the moment. Reece Williams, who filled in for him, he screwed up in the second half to give Rashford a goal that tied the game at 2-2. And yeah, so the center back it's a problem for them at the moment. I think that they're too reliant as well offensively on crosses. They just whip the ball in and they just kind of pray and hope that it's put on a striker's head. And so yeah, they've got to figure some things out. Manchester United, once again, all they've been doing recently is they just been eking out wins. At the end of the day, I think that they get very lucky a lot of times. But look, they're winning at the moment, and they're top of the league, and obviously advancing in the FA Cup now. A big win over Liverpool. That's two of the big boys out of the FA Cup, Arsenal and Liverpool. So for those four that are still in, it just makes the cup run a little bit easier from now on out. But yeah, I thought Rashford played really well. His pass to Greenwood in the first half was disgusting. Hit it about 40, 50 yards right onto Greenwood on the run to equalize right before halftime. And then Bruno Fernandes, once again, he's taken them to another level ever since he signed. They struggled a lot of the time in attacking areas, and once again he gets a free kick late in the game in the 78th minute. And to be fair, I really rate Alisson as a goalkeeper, but he kind of started leaning one direction, and Fernandez caught him out in the other direction. But I mean, it was a lot of pace on the kick and a great goal, and ended up being the winner 3-2 for them. And so their two teams kind of going in different directions at the moment. Manchester United's kind of on the up, and Liverpool's pretty much struggling right now. And see if Klopp can turn things around, because even though they do have some injuries, they still have fantastic players. Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane, I think are two of the better wingers on the Premier League, but in the world, yeah, Firmino's quality. Wijnaldum's good. Thiago on paper was a great free signing from Bayern Munich, but I actually saw something that they don't win games when he's playing. It's kind of weird. I think he's a fantastic player, but when he's in the squad, they're actually struggling to win games. So I don't know if that's because of him or that's kind of coincidental. But Liverpool, they've got to try and get back on track here soon if they want to keep up in the Premier League, or else you could see them fall even more and become not only just not challenging anymore, but they could even fall out of the top 4 places here soon if they don't tighten up.
I think Liverpool just became really comfortable with having two walls at center back, and Van Dijk and Joe Gomez, that playing without them, they realize that there's some cracks in the hole, and it's hard to replace those two caliber players.
Yeah.
Just with players off the bench. You can't do it. You gotta find a way to kind of.
It's when the guys in the guys in the other area have got to reach another level to kind of make up for what you lost in those areas, and right now they don't really have that at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, if you had told me that Salah would have scored twice on Man U this weekend and they would have lost, I wouldn't have believed you. They just got to show that their defense, they got to really step it up now, because offensively, I mean, they can make opportunities, they can score, but when they're not scoring, they're not winning. So.
Yep. All right. So on to the last game, FA Cup game. It happened actually earlier today, just a few hours ago. Spurs beat Wickham. Unfortunately, I was watching parts of the game and saw that Wickham was up 1-0, and I was like, oh god, maybe Spurs will do it again. They can take our minds off of the Arsenal loss, but they ended up scoring right before halftime to equalize 1-1, and then near the end of the game they scored 3 goals and ended up taking it 4-1. So they pulled it out in the end. I think that they're kind of. I feel like they're kind of one of those teams that's getting a little lucky recently as well.
Very.
But it's better to be lucky than good, to be honest. So they progress, and they're still on their hunt to win their first trophy in years. I think since 2008 when they won what was back then. I think it was called the Carling Cup, the League Cup back then. And it's just another competition that they can win a trophy from that they won't win a trophy from, but they at least are in it.
Record.
And so yeah, I don't really have a ton of thoughts on that. I mean, they dominated the game.
Yeah.
They're playing Wickham. Wickham's a
28
lower
shots, 10 on target, 73% possession. I mean, you look at those stats, and you would think
they did deserve to win.
They lived in their box.
They've been lucky in some league games, but this wasn't exactly.
Yeah,
Wickham did the usual. A smaller team comes and plays a big club, and they sit back and they just defend for their lives and hope to catch them on the counter attack. And Spurs was able to break it before halftime, but then once again break the shield that the Wickham defense was setting up late in the game.
They kind of bottled up some of that Cheltenham magic. They had Man City up against the ropes, just like Wickham had Spurs up against the wall for a minute there, but. Yeah, I just think two strong clubs there. I mean, not all you can do. I mean,
at the end of the day, that'd be a crazy upset. I know Wickham probably at that point was, let's just get the extra time and then an extra time. Honestly, just get the penalties. See if we can beat them on penalties because they don't have the talent to go head to head. If they went head to head, if Wickham went head to head with Spurs, they'd lose 7-0. So they have to do what they do and sit back and defend. But at the end of the day, Spurs were able to pull it out.
So, I think we can all agree, though, win or lose, fuck Spurs.
Fuck Spurs. That's something that we can all agree on here.
Fuck Spurs.
2 Arsenal fans, a Chelsea fan, we all hate Spurs. We have something in common. All right, so seeing this past week, we reached the midway point for a lot of teams in the Premier League. Most teams have played 19 games, some have played 18. And then you have like Aston Villa sitting in there with only 16 or 17 games due to some COVID complications. But we are at the halfway point pretty much, and so we want to kind of give our top 4 predictions and as well as our relegation and title predictions. So, Jake, if you want to go ahead and start us off, who do you think the top 4 is going to be this year?
Top 4, number 1, probably go with Chelsea. No, okay. Let me chill. I had to throw that one in there. No,
just go no order. Just your top 4.
Top 4 definitely. I'm gonna have Man United and Man City in there. I mean, they're all around. They look like the most dominant teams. Very well put together, just all around at every position. They've got just some studs that show up every game basically. And even though Man United's had some games that it's been questionable outcomes that have gone their way, but
penalty FC, Bruno Fernandes,
FC. But yeah, no, I definitely think Man United, Man City is going to be up there. Which that's cool that you have both the Manchester teams up there. I don't. Even though Leicester City is sitting in number 3 right now, I'm going to say that they maybe land in the 4 spot.
Because they were kind of in this position last year, and they actually fell out altogether.
Yeah,
they started off the season really strong, and then they kind of fell apart.
Yeah, the thing about Leicester City is that they're a really strong counter-attacking team, and they showed that against us big time. And just because our defense struggles anyways, so they picked us apart. But I'm gonna say Leicester's maybe at the 4 or 5 spot. And then
4 or 5. Do you have them in your top 4 or no?
I'm gonna go Leicester.
All right.
And then I'm going to say fuck Spurs. They're not getting in the top 4.
Nah.
I'm going to go with Liverpool as my other team. Even though their form right now, it's looking a little shaky, I think they're going to turn it around. And then, once they get their center back duo back in there, I think they'll be fine. I think they're definitely going to be in the top 4.
All right, Sling, how about your top 4? What do you got?
So I'm thinking like I'm the same as Jake. Like the Manchester teams right up there, Man City and Man U. I think Liverpool's still up there. I know we talked about defensively, they've been struggling, but even then I still think attacking-wise, they have a very strong attack, and I don't really see many other teams, if they can kind of figure things out right now and put together a good string of matches, I don't see too many other teams that can beat them. And then right now, I'm pretty split between Leicester and Spurs there, just because I know, like, just like last year, Leicester did really good at the first half of the season, and then fell apart there the second half. So my biggest question with Leicester is, like, can they keep up with their form and finish out the second half strong? And then with Spurs, as much as I hate to say it, like, they get results when they need to. They've got a very strong attack, very good midfield as well. I mean, they're another team that's going to stay right up there in the top 5 the whole year. And I think if Leicester and Liverpool aren't careful, I think Spurs can slide right in there, take one of them out.
Who are you choosing though, Leicester or Spurs? Gotta choose one.
Gotta. I'm gonna say Spurs. Like I said,
Spurs.
it all comes down to Leicester being able to finish out strong, and I think Spurs will be able to finish stronger than them. So,
all right. So my top 4 is pretty similar to y'all. I think the 2 Manchester clubs are in there. I think there could be the potential right now that United could get figured out. Like, they could stop getting penalties, they could stop winning games in the 88th minute, and you could see them drop a lot of points. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think they'll definitely still make the top 4. They might not win the title, but I definitely think they'll make the top 4. And then besides them, you see, I kind of struggle with Liverpool because on paper you're like, okay, they should definitely make the top 4. They should be challenging for the title, even with the injuries they have. They still have a great squad with a lot of good players.
Yeah.
But when you've had this much success over the last couple of years, winning the Champions League, then winning the league, and then the year that they won the Champions League but finished runner-up in the league, they're literally the best runner-up in the history of the Premier League. They would have won the league in almost any other season, but they've been so good for 2 years, and they're finally facing like some adversity. So a part of me wonders if they'll be able to respond to that, or if they could potentially go on that downward spiral and kind of collapse. So I am very tempted to leave them out of my top 4, and I'm going to make a big prediction here. This could come back to bite me in the ass, but I think Liverpool, they don't make the top 4. I think they fall out. I think that they're going to go on a downward trend. I think they're spiraling at the moment. I think teams have figured out how they play, and yeah, I think when you've won that much, when you start to face adversity, when you start to lose, a lot of guys don't respond to it properly. I think that's what's happening to them right now. And so, Liverpool fans who are listening to this, you might hate me. Trust me, I don't have any kind of hate for Liverpool, but just calling it how I see it. And I think I kind of want to go against the flow. I think that they might drop out of the top 4. So, I have the 2 Manchester clubs in there.
You basically just said you fucking hate Liverpool. That's wild. Holy shit.
I think Leicester City makes it, actually. I think the problem with Leicester City, one of their issues, is that they have a very good team, but their squad is like not on the level of other like bigger clubs. So like if they have a couple key injuries, like if Vardy gets hurt, if who else? If like Fofana at the back gets hurt, or Ndidi's I wish he was at Arsenal. He's a fantastic midfielder. If he were to get hurt, I think that they could start to drop points. But I think that they have a lot of momentum right now. They lost at the end of last season. I think they'll learn from that, and I think they probably will sneak out a top 4 finish this season. And then last, I think Spurs are probably going to make it. Unfortunately, I'm tempted to put Everton, but I've watched Everton over the years, and they kind of like they'll be at the top near the top of the table at times, but as the season goes on, they fall apart. And while they do have some really good players like James Rodriguez and guys like that, Calvert-Lewin's been very good this season. I think I would go with Spurs over them. And I wish I could put Arsenal in the top 4, but even trying to be biased, there's no scenario I could really see that. I'd love to be shocked and prove wrong, and Arsenal somehow gets in the top 4, but yeah, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
All right, so relegation. I'll go first. I'll run it back this time. I think the relegation right now, the bottom 2 teams, I think they're gone. I think West Brom and Sheffield United, especially Sheffield United, they're gone. They only have 5 points at this point in the season. I think they're on pace to have the worst season in Premier League history, in fact. And West Brom, I know they got Big Sam Allardyce, and he's like the relegation saver, like saint or whatever you want to call him. He's brought in to clubs near the bottom of the table just to make sure they survive and stay in the Premier League. But I've seen West Brom play. They just don't have I don't rate a lot of players in their club. I just think that they don't have very good. They don't have a lot of Premier League quality players.
Have you seen their goal differential?
Yeah, minus 28. That's really good.
-28.
That's even worse than Sheffield
Worse than
United.
Sheffield by 6. That's fucking crazy.
And then I'm gonna have to. I think the bottom three stays the bottom three. I like the way Fulham have been playing more recently. I think they figured out. They started off the season trying to play expansive attacking football that they played in the championship. And when you play teams that have better players than you, that just doesn't work. I think that's why Arsenal crushed him on the first day, and that was the only game Willian has looked good in an Arsenal shirt is because they played such an open, expansive game. He had all the room in the world to work. But I think recently they've learned, hey, look, we got to sit back, defend. Let's try and hit teams on the counterattack. And I think they have gotten good at that. You see, recently they've had a few draws. But I think that I would pick them to be relegated over Brighton. I think there's a chance. Newcastle, they've been fucking horrible recently. I think they could be on the verge of sacking their manager, but I think that they have enough quality in that squad to stay up. And then Brighton as well. I don't really know why they're struggling, to be honest. I've watched Brighton play. I think they have some decent players. I think Vespa is a player that is a top 6 caliber player. I'd love for him to come to Arsenal and partner with Thomas Partey in the midfield. I think Mopai is a good striker. And I rate their manager too, Graham Potter, a man like Lee Gunner. He did really well. I remember Arsenal played his team, Ostersons, in the Europa League a few years ago, and I think they beat us at the Emirates Stadium, although we'd still won the tie. But I think he's a good manager, and I think Brighton have some good players, but for some reason they're struggling right now. But I think because of the quality that they have in their squad and their manager, I think that they will stay up. And if you actually look at, they only have a -7 goal differential, so obviously they've been losing a lot of really close games. So I think they'll stay up. So I think the bottom 3 right now are the bottom 3 that we'll see at the end of the season. What about you, Jake?
Yeah, no, I agree. Bottom 3, I think they're out.
Yeah.
Sheffield, good God, it's just.
Yeah, they finally got their first win recently.
Yeah, no, it's a shit show. 1 win, 2 draws, 16.
That's
losses.
Someone who just got absolutely hammered by the COVID pandemic. They were playing so good last season.
Yeah.
I think they were even like in a top 6 position.
Yeah, I remember
that. What they were using is they were using just momentum and the fact that there was fans in the ground. It was really hard to go and play at Sheffield. They have some crazy fans, and I think that COVID pandemic has just ruined them. I think that if it was another situation, they might not be down at the bottom of the table, but it's unfortunate for them. But they haven't been able to cope with it at all.
Yeah, no, I want to say my other 2 teams that might have a chance, like, maybe if Fulham or West Brom, turns their form around or something. The only other 2 teams that I'm thinking that might get relegated is probably Newcastle. I don't think Brighton will be relegated. I think they'll turn it around.
Brighton would. I don't know how much y'all know about AFTV, but there's this guy named Ty on AFTV. He's a regular. And last season, Neil Maupay hurt Bernd Leno. We thought he tore his ACL. But he hurt him while he was jumping for the ball. He ran into him and he landed awkwardly on his knee. I think he only ended up spraining his MCL. But Ty had a rant on there, and he was like, Neil Maupay, you're a disgrace. I hope Brighton get relegated. And it's gone viral. That would be amazing if Brighton got relegated and that clip could be shown on it. But yeah, I agree. I don't really think Brighton will go down.
I was saying Newcastle. I mean, their form has just been absolute shit lately. And the other team, actually, even though they have 6 wins, 4 draws, Wolves is just, I mean,
they're not coping with
decent.
Yeah, they're not coping with Raul Jimenez being out.
That loss of Raul, I mean, their past 5 games, it's 3 losses, 2 draws. I mean, if they keep on that form, and
that's relegation form.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Brighton, I think they can get more points than Wolves, honestly, and then that's where it would come between Wolves and Newcastle as that third if maybe Fulham turned it around or West Brom turned it around because they do have 11 and 12 points with, for the 2 of them. So, but I think right now it's just looking like the bottom 3 are going to be the ones that are out, in my opinion.
What about you, Sling?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on that. I think the bottom 3 right now are I mean, Sheffield for sure. We can go on for days.
Yeah, they're dead and buried. It would be a miracle for them to
Yeah,
somehow pull it out.
just go ahead and write the funeral off. They're gone. West Brom, same thing. I mean, like you said, that goal differential, like just horrendous play right now. Uh, the only team I could see Fulham scraping past to escape relegation would be Newcastle. Uh,
Yeah.
I like you said, Brighton's form it hasn't been like too terrible for a team that's fighting relegation. They at least have like a win here recently. I guess Burnley does too.
It's
I mean,
draws is losses too, so that's kind of a positive.
I
That's
mean,
been their problem. They have too many draws. That's probably why their goal
they're draw
differential is not that
merchants.
great.
So,
Yeah.
I mean,
They really are draw merchants.
if they can stop being draw merchants and get a couple wins, honestly, they might be able to like climb up the table a little bit.
If you look at, they have the same amount of losses or less losses than every team up until 10th place.
Right.
So, but they just haven't been getting wins. That's their problem.
Then I look at Burnley. Burnley, just upset Liverpool. So I mean, I don't see a team like that, falling down. Newcastle is like the only team I can see Fulham maybe jumping. But even then, I still think Fulham's too far behind right now. Like, it's only 5 points, but it's 5 points that I don't think Fulham.
5 points in a title race is not a massive gap, but 5 points in a relegation race is normally a pretty big gap,
especially when you can't,
even with half the season left to go.
When you can't get wins against these other Premier League teams, like it really doesn't matter. So I like the bottom three right now. I think that's going to stick. I'm very confident in saying those are going to be the three teams that get relegated.
Yeah. All right. What do you got for who's bringing home the silverware at the end of the season? Who's winning the Premier League?
I'm gonna go with City. I think Man City is gonna win it. I know losing Aguero is gonna hurt them kind of in the long run, but just looking at their recent stretch, I think they can keep it going. I mean, five wins in the last league games. Like, they're only two points behind United. In the table. And like I said earlier, Man United obviously has had, a good run lately, but I just don't see them keeping it going.
And they've got a game in hand too on Man United. So if they win that, then they'll be top.
Exactly.
So
I like Man City. I think they're the best team on paper right now in the Premier League. I see them at the top of the table when it's all said and done.
Yeah. As much as I don't want to give our friend Donnie, who's a Manchester City supporter,
fan in quotation.
Fan.
Hell, buddy.
Quotation mark. Sure, buddy. But as much as I don't want to give him, that satisfaction of hearing me say that I think they're going to win the league, I do think they're going to win the league. I think when they get Sergio Aguero back, I think that's just that last piece to really just have that absolute domination over the Premier League. And I think Man United has been getting lucky, even though they are a very good team, and I do, as I said before, they're going to finish top four. I just think that Man City all around is that better team. I don't see anybody else taking the silverware over them. What about you, Logan?
Yeah, I think it's between Man United and Man City, and I just think Man City they're more. When I watch them, it's kind of the eye test. I watch Man City; they look like a much more dominant team than Manchester United. I think, like you said, Man United have gotten a lot of late game penalties, including ones when the final whistle has literally already been blown, and they come back out and score a 101st minute penalty or whatever to win the games. But they've got a lot of late winners, deflected winners. They've been riding their luck a lot, and that's not anything to take away from them. I wish Arsenal was riding their luck. I'd love to be in their position and just winning off. It's better to be lucky than good, but I think even with Aguero out, I think Man City, they just have too much quality. And I think, honestly, the only team in the Premier League that can match Man City's quality is Liverpool.
Chelsea. Oh. Sorry,
I actually meant Chelsea and Arsenal. But no, I think the only team that can match Man City's quality is Liverpool when they're healthy. And right now with Van Dijk and Gomez and those guys out, and then just the form that they're on, obviously I don't think they're going to – I didn't even pick them in my top four, so obviously I don't think they're going to match them. And, yeah, I think at the end of the day, Man City will win it, and I think they'll probably win it by – I think right now the title race looks absolutely insane. Like, there's so many teams in the title race, to be honest, like within 10, 11 points of the title race. But I think at the end of the season, I think Man City will pull away and win it, like with at least a few matches left in the season. I just think they have too much quality, especially when they get Aguero back. I think that's when they'll really go on a run and solidify themselves, and they'll win what would be their third Premier League title in 4 years.
Yeah, they have the biggest goal differential, the least amount of losses.
Yep, they have the best defense right now, which is kind of crazy. As like I said, Ruben Diaz has just been an amazing signing for them.
13 goals allowed.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
it's actually funny. You look at normally they have the most goals scored, and they still have a decent. I mean, 31 goals is not bad or anything, but
Yeah.
right now they got the least goals allowed, and that's kind of what. Like I said, even though they've won it, they've had decent defenses, but they haven't had one as good as this. And I think defenses do win championships at the end of the day. All right, let's look forward now to the games coming up in the midweek, starting tomorrow with the Arsenal playing Southampton. Hopefully a little bit of a revenge game for Arteta and the boys. Look, they've got no excuses. They rested guys at the weekend. Now those guys got rested. They've got to come in and perform. Southampton didn't rest their guys. They should, I mean, theoretically be tired. I think it showed at the end of the game on the weekend. And even though Southampton have been playing pretty well this season, and it's at St. Mary's, but I feel like Arsenal have got to win this game, and if they don't, we could be in some trouble.
All right, you Gunners, what's your score predictions for that game?
I think part of it depends because apparently Aubameyang has been out recently with personal reasons. That's why he missed the FA Cup game. I don't know if
Does
someone
that
in
mean
his
getting a
family.
divorce or something? I heard it was a divorce.
Is that what I've heard a lot of different things. I don't know if something like that or if he
I heard divorce.
had
I
a
think
death in the
homeboy
family.
is
Yeah, it's
he
definitely
has a
something
split.
inside of his family. So maybe that's what it is. So I don't know if he'll be back. I do trust. Please start Martinelli. Don't start Willian. Don't start Pepe. Start Martinelli in that spot if Aubameyang's not there. But Aubameyang was kind of just finding his form again, so that's a little unfortunate. Um, I think we keep a clean sheet. The defense has been really good recently. I know we gave up a goal in the FA Cup, and it's only one goal. And we'll have Tierney back at left back,
Right.
which he makes us a different team. We look like a completely different team, attacking and defending with him. And I think we win 2-0. I'm going to go 2-0. I think we keep a clean sheet. I know they have Dangerman. Like Danny Ings is really good. I think he's one of the better players outside of the big six teams. But I think we'll be able to keep him fairly quiet. And yeah, I like us to win 2-0.
Man, when I look at this, so I'm looking at some predictions for the squad right now. Hopefully, like you said, Martinelli there at the left wing, Saka at the right, and then Laka up top, Smith Rowe back in there. If we can have Smith Rowe back in there attacking mid, and then Martinelli, Saka, that trio there in the midfield, I think, like you said, 2-0 is very doable. I just have a bad feeling. I have a bad feeling Arteta's going to come back out. He's going to throw Willian.
No, there's no way, bro. If
You don't
I'm
think so?
Arteta in. I have said I will support him the rest of this. If he plays Willian, okay, if he plays Willian, I'm calling for his head.
I'm just saying, there's a good chance that could happen. I don't think we get a result if Willian starts. I don't see it.
Oh, I agree. He plays for on my mother's life. He's playing against
on
us.
my mother. He's playing for the. We don't get a result if Willian starts, but if Martinelli and Saka at wingers, put Rowe back in there. If Partey's back in the lineup too, I think it's
it should just be the same lineup
This should be the lineup that should have been on.
Well, I mean, you can rotate, but I think put the same lineup we put out against Newcastle, except I would probably have Gabriel back in for David Luiz at center back, and then obviously if Aubameyang's dealing with personal issues, then put Martinelli in for him.
Right. So I mean,
what do you think though? What are you picking score wise?
I'll probably say 1-0. I don't know if we're just going to go out there and take it to them. Like you said, I think a clean sheet is a very doable with a full defense back in there with Tierney and Holding. Honestly, 1-0 probably the max. I think right now. I don't think we'll go crazy with the goals, but
see this.
Like I said, Willian. If Willian's in that lineup, we're not getting a result.
Yeah, the thing is for me is that I really do think that we kind of took it to South. Obviously, we didn't win, and we ended up losing. They defended really well, but I think we really took it to them in that second half, and I think they looked really tired. And I think that's going to happen. Logic tells me that's going to carry over. They only get 2 full days of rest,
right?
And I think we could show up and just clap them. To be honest with you, it wouldn't really shock me. Like it would be amazing to win like 4-0, 5-0, 5-1, whatever. But as an Arsenal fan, it is the hope that kills you most of the time. So I am going to stay modest and I'll stick with my 2-0.
I'm gonna give my prediction on that game as well. Saying
don't say some bullshit.
Southampton at home just came off of a dub against Arsenal. I'm saying they ride that wave. I'm saying either 1-0 Southampton or 2-1 Southampton.
Oh my god.
Very interesting.
We'll revisit these lies. All right, let's hop into what will be the best game of the week: Man City versus West Bromwich Albion. I think this is pretty straightforward. We don't really need to preview this that much.
West Brom's going to win this easy at home.
This is going to start West Brom's run where they ended up probably finishing in the top 6 at the end of the season.
Absolutely.
Go from second to bottom to near the top.
Yeah, can I get a fuck that? But, Man City's probably winning 8-0.
I'm going to say Man City. I'm going to say 4-0 Man City. I think it's going to be a big win.
Yeah.
I'll keep it modest. I'll say 3-0, but I like Man City as well.
Yeah. You going with 8-0 or?
No, we joke about 8-0. I'm gonna go 5-0. I think they fucking lay the hammer on West Brom.
Bro, watch West Brom win. Watch West Brom win, and we all look like morons. All right, so Jake, you want to take us away with a little Chelsea preview?
Chelsea Wolves, baby. So just right off the bat, I think we'll pull this game out. I think we're going to ride the wave of getting a new manager in there. It's going to feel like a fresh start for these players, just a new, vibrant leader. I also think that, we were talking about it earlier with Wolves not having Raul Jimenez anymore. That's a huge blow in their attack. And the fact that our, defense is kind of iffy here and there, him not being in there is huge for us. The lineup I'm looking at, because I think we have to win this, especially with a new manager coming in. It needs to be a good look to win this game, and we should win this game.
You're at Stamford Bridge too.
Yeah, we're at home too, so that's going to help out a lot too. But I want Mendy in goal. I want Silva and Zuma as that center back duo. Reece James at right back, Chilwell at left back, and then in the midfield, because Conte's hurt, so he's not going to be in there. Usually, I would have him in there as kind of like that anchor, the CDM. But I'm probably going to go with Kova in the midfield. I want to have Kai as either a false 9 or that central attacking mid. Then the other midfielder,
Mount.
Yeah, Mount. Even though he plays so much, and
can you play Kovacic with Mount though? Because aren't they both like kind of number 8s, or does Kovacic do that defensive work that is needed?
I mean, he does get back, but that's why I was saying Conte would usually be that that guy that is literally just runs.
I guess the only other option in that would be Jorginho, I guess.
Yeah, and
he's mid. He's elite mid.
God, Jorginho.
He's just so like. He just looks slow as shit. Yeah, he looks like he's a decent footballer and has a good mind.
His IQ's great.
Yeah, he just looks really. He doesn't look like he has the pace for the Premier League.
He can't really keep up anymore. That's why I was saying Kova, just because he can still kind of keep up.
And y'all will dominate possession, to be fair, against Wolves. So it's better to have more attacking kind of.
And then my attackers, I probably say Pulisic out on left wing. I like Ziyech a lot at right wing, but I will say CHO, he's looked really great. I would say probably start one of them and then bring the other one on as a sub for one of them, maybe if they're not playing good or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then because Timo has just, God, it's so fucking hard watching him play, I would say start Tammy. Usually I would say start Giroud, but
What happened to him?
He's been dealing with an injury.
Because I noticed I know he was playing really good, and then all of a sudden he just wasn't playing.
Yeah, no, he's had an injury problem, so he hasn't been playing. Usually I would say start Giroud because, God, I love having him up there.
Just lifting balls up to him.
Yes, his heading skill is just absolutely insane. Even though he's slower than dog shit, he still somehow finds ways to score. I mean, it's just the class that he has. So usually I would say Giroud up top, but since he's dealing with that injury, I'd say rest him. Start Tammy. If Tammy's not producing, then
bring on the GOAT Timo Werner.
Bring on Timo. But yeah,
Relax.
that's
Maybe he'll
definitely
get a
my
new
starting lineup.
have a new fresh starter or two. Is Tuchel going to be coach? Because I know they haven't officially announced it. The game's on Wednesday? I think. Yeah, they play Wednesday. Is Tuchel going to actually be there in time for that, or is it going to be like an interim manager type situation? I'm not really sure.
I actually don't know, honestly.
We'll see. But either way, I mean, new manager, interim managers do make it kind of weird because I don't know if that'll provide that bounce. But
yeah,
but I guess we'll wait and see on Wednesday. What are you going for score line wise?
Because Wolves don't have Raul Jimenez, I think they put up, what was it? Is it 2 or 3 on us the last time they played? And one was in bullshit time when we were all in all-out attack, and they put an extra one on us. But without him being there, I'm saying Chelsea wins this 3-1, maybe 2-1. But if our attack's on point, I say 3-1.
I'm gonna go with I think Chelsea will pull it. It's interesting. I think if Tuchel was the manager, I think they pull it out for sure. But with an interim manager, I've seen it happen before. It's just kind of a weird vibe. But I think I will still go. I'm gonna go 2-1 Chelsea. Yeah, I'm gonna still give them the W.
I'm going to go 2-1 Wolves, 90th minute. I think that,
Raul Jimenez coming back from the dead off the bench to
yeah,
score
he's
the
going to get
winner.
some stitches in his head and he's going to come back out. But no, I mean, like you guys were saying, like it's kind of weird. They're in a transition period right now, like a new manager. And it's going to be a little tough on the squad. They're going to have an interim guy in there. I don't know. I think Wolves capitalizes. I think they get a 2-1 win.
Interesting. All right, well,
I smell bullshit.
All right, now back to onto another brilliant game from this week: Manchester United versus Sheffield. The top of the table versus the bottom of the table, and right off the bat, I'm telling you right now, 1-1. 1-1.
Really?
Sheffield United are going to sit back. They're going to defend their asses off. I watch United play a lot, and they are not the greatest at breaking teams down that just sit back and defend. What United are brilliant at are counterattacking and using their pace of like Rashford and Martial and Greenwood. And I'm telling you right now, Sheffield United are going to sit back and defend for their lives. And they might give up one goal. That's all they're going to give up. And they're going to score like off of a set piece. And it's going to be 1-1. I'm telling you right now.
I'm going to have to disagree with that one. I'm saying, I will say Sheffield, I agree they're going to sit back because, I mean, that's really all they can do. Maybe they get lucky on a counter or a
set piece,
a defensive mistake by Man United, or a set piece. I'm saying 2-0 Man United. I just think Man United is just so much better. And Sheffield's going to sit back. They're not going to have too many goal scoring opportunities. I don't think they have the players to put away those minimal chances that they're going to get. I'm saying 2-0 Man United.
I'm going to say I'm going to go 1-0. 1-0. Like Logan said, like Sheffield's obviously going to sit back, but Man U gets so many lucky late goals.
They're going to get like a penalty, the softest penalty you'll ever see in like the 89th.
I think Penandes comes in clutch form. I think they get a nice little goal to give them a decision there.
All right, and then on to what's probably the biggest game of the midweek: Spurs hosting Liverpool. Should be a pretty interesting one. Spurs at home, obviously with COVID, the home field advantage is not what it used to be, but it still is an advantage. And like we said earlier, Liverpool are kind of in a downward spiral right now. Can they get back on track though against Spurs? What do you think, Jake?
This is a tough one. Do we know Van Dijk's not going to be playing in this game?
No, Van Dijk's out for the year.
Oh, he is? Okay.
Yeah, him and Gomez, both of them, they're done.
Oh, shit. I didn't know Gomez was out for the year as well.
I know Gomez, I think they both did something to their knee. I think that's what both happened to him. They both tore something.
Okay. Damn, in that case, I think I'm going to give Tottenham the edge in this one. I think the score will be 2-1, and I think Tottenham scores first. I think Liverpool, just because they have an insane attack and just their players up top and in the midfield are just crazy good. I think they do pull one back, and I think Tottenham scores late game to seal the deal. 2-1 Spurs.
This is tough for me. Obviously, I want Liverpool to win 9-0, but yeah, I don't know. I think Mourinho is, even though they're at home, it's how he does it against the big teams. He's going to sit back and defend. And I think that's where Liverpool are going to get caught out. I think if they had Van Dijk, Gomez, they could deal with those counterattacks. But when you have Son and Harry Kane and those guys running at, Fabinho, who I really rate Fabinho. I think he's a really good player. And I think he does a solid job at center back, but that's not his position. And then you have, I don't know if they're going to start Reece Williams, the youngster. I don't know if they'll put another. I think they played Henderson, Jordan Henderson at center back recently. I don't know if he'll get put back in there, but I just don't think that's a good recipe. Son and Kane running at that defense on the counterattack. I think Liverpool will probably have 60% possession. They'll probably have more shots, but I think at the end of the day, I think Spurs will probably create better opportunities off that counter attack, and I think that I'm going to go 3-1. I think they're going to be winning 2-1. I think late in the games, Liverpool are just going to be putting all numbers forward, and I think Spurs will make another one late to seal it 3-1. As much as I hate to say that, I'm taking Spurs in this one.
I'm going to take Spurs as well. I'm going to go 2-1 like Jake. I think, like you said, Mourinho's going to sit back, obviously. He's going to defend his ass off. They do it against all the big clubs. I don't know. I just see Son. I see Son or Harry Kane putting one in past that defense. And I just don't think Liverpool is going to be able to, create enough opportunities. They're going to be sitting back having to defend really hard against that Spurs attack, and I don't see them really getting too many opportunities on. So actually, I'm going to say 2-0. I don't think Liverpool scores one on them.
I think this could be. I think this is a really massive game for Liverpool. I think if they were to come out and put in a really good performance, I think it's more important for Liverpool because I think if they come out and put in a really good performance and win on the road against Spurs, can be like, okay, look, we had our blip, we had our bad run of form, but let's get back on track, and they can insert themselves right back into the title race. But I think if they go there and they lose another game, especially to a big club, the teams that you're supposed to be challenging along with, I think that could just put them even more and more into a downwards trend. And I think
a shot to your confidence as well.
Yeah, I think this is a massive game for Liverpool. It's a massive game for both because Spurs, if they win, I think they can jump into the top 4.
Yeah, they would. They would.
Yeah, they leap Liverpool into the top 4. But I think it is much bigger for Liverpool, in my opinion, just for morale, from a morale basis. I think if they can turn around against Spurs, that can springboard them forward, and then if they lose again, it could just get even worse for them.
It's tough too because they don't even have a win in the past 5 games.
Yeah,
they probably are. Their confidence is probably already pretty low. They need this big time.
If Liverpool loses this, slips out top 4, I don't see them coming back.
They might just.
Even though I think that they will finish top 4, if they lose this game, I think they're done. I think they're going to slide, like you said. This is going to be a big confidence hit. They're just going to keep at this point.
It's so hard to write off a team that has that many good players, but at the same time, sports are a confidence game.
Yep.
And if you start going down the tubes, it's hard to regroup and come back from it, especially during the middle of the season when a lot of fixtures are stacking up on each other. All right, we'll come back to those predictions next week and see who did the best. Maybe we got to get some kind of forfeit or something for whoever has the best or the worst predictions for the month. That'd be a nice little incentive to get things right.
We'll think of something.
All right, so
we got receipts for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Damn, then I gotta that Arsenal pick. I don't know.
Bite your ass.
Hey, you
stop trolling.
You picked Wolves, so Chelsea,
that's
bro.
Gonna happen. That's gonna happen.
Bullshit. Get
I'm
the
confident that's gonna happen. Just wait.
Oh, fuck it.
Hey, Wolves have been giant killers in the past. Although I don't know if ninth place teams are giants, but that's not. That's a question. All right, let's move into our winners and losers from the week. So I'm gonna go ahead and give mine. My winner for the week, I think there's only really one for me. Manchester United, the biggest game of the weekend, beat Liverpool, beat a direct rival. They played pretty well, in my opinion. And yeah, they've been on a great run of form recently, and they've got to be the winner for me. And loser, unfortunately, there's a couple I could choose from. But for me,
Fuck, don't say it.
I,
Don't
I
say
have
it.
to choose my guy. I have to choose my guy,
Yes.
Mikel Arteta.
Arteta, baby.
There's just no. It's just
Arrogant
complete
fuck.
arrogance. It's just that's all it is. It's I was so mad. I woke up at 6 a.m. to watch us put out a dog shit team, and then on top of that,
No.
just have a dog shit performance. Like, oh yeah, I would have much rather slept my ass in and enjoyed that, but yeah, just arrogance. You're the holders of the cup, which makes it even worse. It's your competition. You've won it more times than the other team, and you put out that kind of lineup. And then on top of that, then you lose. So Mikel Arteta is my loser of the week.
Winner, again, I think the only real clear one is Man United. I mean, that's an easy one. Loser, I'm going to have to go with my very own Frank Lampard.
We're going with our own boys.
Yep. I mean, just because it's more personal to me, it hits closer to home. You know, I love the guy. He's a legend, a club legend, but he wasn't getting the job done as manager. He's definitely my loser of the week.
My big winner, man. You know, I know, Jake, you guys had a loser over there at Chelsea and Lampard, but a big winner coming out of Chelsea, I'm going to say, is Pulisic. He's getting his old manager back, and I think with a guy who has been so underappreciated at Chelsea, to get his old manager back, you know, a German guy who obviously is going to link up with those other German players you guys have, I think, you know, that's a big win for Pulisic. So
get him back to form, hopefully.
Yeah. So Pulisic, that's my big winner of the week. I think he's gonna really start shining in this Chelsea lineup with Tuchel coming in. And then my big loser for the week is Arsenal. I think this loss was obviously on Arteta, but you know, like you said, the players got to show up, and they didn't do it this week. And it kind of sucks too with the stretch they're on. You can't talk about Arsenal's stretch or Arsenal schedule right now without bringing up this stretch they have coming up. You got Southampton, Man United, Wolves, Aston Villa, and Leeds, who are all except for Leeds, I guess Wolves too, who are all pretty much either above.
They're all around us or above us in the table. Yeah.
You know, and like I said earlier, you know, there's only 7 points separating 8th and 14th, so this is going to be a very tough stretch for Arsenal. And starting this stretch out with a loss like that is not very good. So hopefully they can get this league stretch started off on a hot note. But yeah. Oh, and not to mention Aubameyang. He's also another big loser this week, losing his wife. And he's not.
Is that actually true? Like, has this been confirmed?
Dude,
you have to get people to hate us in our first ever episode. People are gonna fucking hate us.
I think this is true. I think
you better hope it's true. God damn,
that's just true. Man. Aubameyang, big loser, lost his wife too. Man, like
that's fucked up.
It is fucked up.
I wasn't gonna make a joke earlier, but then he
does it anyways.
Oh god. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. All right.
That was
good picks. Good picks.
Sling brought the energy with that shit. I appreciate it.
Come on, you Gunners.
All right, and I think that takes us to the end of our show. First ever episode. I enjoyed it. It's new. We're learning, but I enjoyed it. How about y'all?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it was really fun.
It was good to get on here and just shoot the shit. Have some banter. Talk some shit, and yeah. Look forward. We'll be back next week. Same time, same date. We'll go over the results from this week and then preview next week as well. But we really appreciate anyone that tuned in with us, and hopefully you'll be back next week. And a quick shout out to our Twitter. You can follow us on Twitter at Clueless Yanks, and we've got some other platforms hopefully coming up soon. Hopefully we'll be on TikTok soon at Clueless Yanks, as well as hopefully maybe even making a YouTube channel here soon. But yeah, really appreciate everyone that listened and tuned in, and we will see you all next week.
Thank you guys.
See y'all later, boys.
Take it easy, everyone.